What are your payment terms? How do you get paid in this business? Is it net 30? Is it due upon receipt? Can I accept cash, credit card? Like, do I get checks? How do I do this stuff, right? That's one of the questions that I had when I first got started in this business. And so that's what we're gonna be talking about in this video. By the way, if we just now meet, my name is Darian Jared. And on this channel, we are documenting our journey as well as sharing valuable tips and information to help you succeed in the cleaning business as well, right? So let's get right into it. First, we're gonna start off with due upon receipt. I wanna start here because this is where a lot of us start, right? We're going to be expected to get paid due upon receipt. And what due upon receipt means is as soon as you send the invoice to your customer, you expect to get paid immediately. This is mainly for the business to customer, type of situations where you're doing a service for somebody who is, just calling you for a smaller job or a cleaning that may just be a one-time cleaning where you go and do the service and then you go about your way, right? Something like that that's not recurring, right? This is where you're going to be using due upon receipt. By the way, when you're doing these services for people, make sure you have something in writing that clearly states, this is my expectations, this is the terms, we're going to send you an invoice with this amount on it and you're going to be paying this amount to us, right? This is one thing you want to make sure you get clear on, right? Now, some of the benefits of sending an invoice due upon receipt or using the due upon receipt payment terms method is you're going to be getting paid quicker. You're not going to be having to worry about a bunch of delayed payments. And this is also where, it's just could be like a cash flow basis where you just get cash, right? You get cash, whatever. But some of the drawbacks are when you're using this due upon receipt method, that's probably because you're not having recurring revenue going on, right? Once you've been doing business for people, you can offer your services on a monthly basis, right? This is where you can say, hey, I've been doing this for you. If you do something for somebody a couple times, be like, hey, we've been doing this, a couple times. Would you want to just get on a schedule to where I can do this for you once a month or twice a month, however that works out, right? All right, so now that we figured out the due upon receipt method, it's time to go over to the net 30 payment terms, right? This is where you're doing more of the contracts, doing more of the recurring revenue, recurring payment type of situations, right? Where your company will do a service for another company for 30 days. And then on the 30th day, you'll be getting paid, right? Now, I understood that going into this business. I always thought, okay, my company's gonna work for 30 days and then I'll be getting paid at the end of the month, right? This is just how it works. This is the standard for the cleaning business. But I have to be transparent right here and let you guys know that I'm truly just now figuring out what the real definition of net 30 payment terms is, right? Meaning, when you send your invoice, that invoice is to be paid 30 days after the invoice is sent, right? That's net 30. This is how a lot of the large corporations do their business and do their payment terms. They know they got 30 days to pay this certain invoice, right? And they could pay it earlier or they could pay it right on the 30th day, right? Depending on what the terms are, this is how it works. But I didn't realize that, right? For 4 years, I was doing my business on what I thought was net 30 payment terms in Little Rock. Now, in my Little Rock, Arkansas business, we had customers that, were kind of smaller to medium sized type of customers. They were smaller to medium sized buildings and smaller to medium sized customers. So we have our own contracts to where in our contract terms and agreements, we would write invoice will be sent on the first day of the month and payment is due within 10 days, right? We are to be paid in full within 10 days of the reception of that invoice, right? Now, we understood that we're going to work for 30 days. Our company's going to service this building for 30 days. At the end of that month or the first day of the next month, we're going to be sending them that invoice for that full payment. And they are to be paying us within 10 days, right? But now my point is, when we moved down to Jacksonville, Florida, we got a couple contract with one of these big conglomerate type of companies who is a large corporation that do a lot of business or whatever, and they have their own terms and agreements and their service agreement as well, which is cool with us. You know, it worked for us. I'm like, okay, but here's our price. We're going to put on here, you know, we agree with y'all terms as well, because it was net 30 terms, which in my mind is the same way as Little Rock. But no, it was totally different, right? Or it was the same, but it was different. We ended up getting our first building with them, first contract. You know, we had our company work 30 days, right? And on that 30th day, by the first, we sent them an invoice, right? Now we wait, we get to the 10th day, and I'm like, what's happening? You know, what's going on? Where's the money, right? So I'm, you know, sending emails, I'm calling, hey, what's going on? And when I finally got in touch with the person responsible for this, you know, I got in touch with somebody and they let me know, hey, yes, we received their invoice and it looks like accounts payable have you set up on net 30 payment terms. Is that correct? And I'm like, yes, that's correct, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what we're doing, right? It's been 30 days. What's going on? And I had to understand that, which they helped me understand that, no, it was 30 days after the invoice was sent, right? And so I'm like, wow, okay, so we gotta wait another 30 days pretty much, right? So we essentially waited 60 days in order to get paid. This was my mistake. It was my fault because I didn't understand how those payment terms actually worked, right? So it's important to get clear and understand how your customer is going to be sending these payments. Understand how they look at net 30 and make sure you're not just, you know, doing it on a whim like I was doing it, right? But I say all that to say we ended up getting more contracts with them, and we ended up, you know, getting to a point where they trust us. They know we're reliable. They know we're going to be doing good service. And we ended up getting to a place where I sent an invoice at the first day of the month before we even clean, right? Meaning before we go in there and clean, that invoice is sent, right? So invoice is sent and our company works for 30 days, and then boom, that invoice is being paid at the end of that month, right? And so now we on a good flow again, right? And that's how it works. And so it's very, very important to get very, very clear on that, right? And I say it's very, very important to get clear because if you got people that are working for you, working with you, if you got employees or subcontractors or people that are doing the service for you and you need to get paid, and that time where we had to wait another 30 days, that can get very, very challenging and hectic, right? Now, thankfully down here, it was just myself, my wife, and a family member doing the cleaning for this particular company. So it was just like, okay, that's our fault. We're gonna have to just deal with it, work with it. But if you got people that you gotta pay, you need to get your people paid immediately, right? And so now I wanna get into dealing with late payments, right? What happens when that invoice just doesn't get paid, right? It's taking way too long for that invoice to get paid, where you start to understand the cycle of your customers. You know, some are going to send a paper check, and that check going to be in the mail by the 7th or 10th day of the month. Or you have people that pay you online where you waiting 2 to 3 business days, right? You know, you just know how they pay, right? But what happens when it's taking a little bit too long? That's when you know that something's going wrong. Something didn't get processed. Something didn't make it to them. You know, whether you put the wrong email on there or something happened to where it just didn't get to them, right? This is where you want to figure out how to get in touch with the accounts payable or the accounting department, right? When they tell you send the invoices to this email, right? Whose email is that up there and whose contact information? You want to go and figure out what their number is, what their email is, and you want to communicate with them very, very thoroughly, right? We like to send out 2 emails and then follow up with the phone call, right? If we hadn't received the answer from those emails, we want to call them. Now, our emails go something like this. Hello, blank. I hope all is well. I am reaching out about invoice number 1234 sent on blank date. Just wondering if you all received this invoice, and if so, has it been processed, right? Something like that, something clear, concise, and polite, right? And so you want to get clear. You want to figure out what's going on, what's happening. You don't want to jump to conclusion, because if you've been doing business with somebody for 7 months or 27 months and they've had a slip up, it's not like they, trying to just, not pay you, right? So you want to just get clear and not jump to conclusions and see what's going on with it, because a lot of times checks have gotten lost in the mail, or the manager responsible for processing the invoice just forgot to do it, right? People are people. At the end of the day, you're dealing with people, right? And so from that point, they will say, hey, we're doing that right now, or, we'll be sending it out on this date or whatever, right? So just get clear. And so now, if you hadn't gotten clear through email, after you done followed up with another email, this is where you follow up with phone calls, right? You want to call everybody. You want to call that particular person who is in charge of accounts payable. You want to call everybody in the accounts payable department. And if you hadn't gotten in touch with them, then you want to call the person that is actually in the building, the manager or director, the head person in the particular building that you are responsible for cleaning, the boss, right, of that building. You want to get in touch with somebody who can give you some answers, right? And if you never get paid for that, this is where you may have to look at going to small claims court, or, getting some legal counsel to figure out, how do I get paid? I've heard people taking bills to collection and all that stuff. I've never had to deal with that, and hopefully you won't have to deal with anything like that either. But you need to get paid, especially if you got staff that you have to pay, right? All right, now that we've gotten that out the way, it's time to get into the invoicing part, right? What is an invoice? Why do I need an invoice? And how do I even send an invoice, right? So I looked up what an invoice actually was, right? Now, Wikipedia has an invoice described as a commercial document issued by a seller to a buyer relating to a sale transaction and indicating the products, quantities, and agreed upon prices for the products or services the seller provided to the buyer, right? So it's basically a bill. That's all an invoice is, right? It's a bill that you're going to be sending to your customer stating what you did and how much it costs, right? When it was, all that good stuff, right? Now, when I first got started, I simply went to Google and looked up invoice templates, and then I created my own. I went to one of them places where you can create a template, right? I created a template, and I essentially just put, my information, my customer's information, the description of the service, the date, and then how much it costs on there. And I sent it to them with, either net 30 terms or due upon receipt, right? And I would just get a PDF file of it and I would send it to them to their email, right? This is how we did it, right? That's cool in the beginning, but once you start doing more and more business, you start getting more customers and you start sending more invoices. That way can be time consuming. So you want to find a software or a system that allows you to send invoices and keep everything in a smooth flow, a smooth process, right? Now, I personally use Quickbooks. That's what I like. That's what I started out using, and it's pretty simple. Plus, it allows you to send your invoices with your logo and all that good stuff on there. Everything is very neat and organized, and it looks very professional. I'm very big on that because I understand that in business, it's all about perception, right? People want to do business with people that they perceive to be the most professional, right? They want to do business with people that are doing good work, right? And first of all, it allows you to receive a payment through check and credit card, right? Your customer has the option to pay that invoice online right away. They can click a button, right? As soon as that invoice gets to their email, they'll open it up and they can pay that invoice online with their credit card, and you can have it in your bank account within 1 or 2 business days. And they also have a process in there where they can allow you to send recurring invoices, right? You can put it on recurring to where it's just systematic. You got this one invoice for $500 a month. It's the same exact thing every single month. You can put it on recurring and it'll go to your customer like clockwork on the first day of the month, every single month, right? It allows you to automate, and it allows your accountant to just simply log into your account. They can get access and see all that and get your stuff paid and taken care of at the end of the year, right? In conclusion, that's how we get paid in the cleaning business. We send out our invoices net 30 if it's for a customer that we're doing ongoing business with every single month, and we send them out due upon receipt for our customers that we're doing smaller jobs for, one-time cleans or things where they may call us and we'll never hear from them again, right? And so with that being said, just make sure you communicate clearly with your customer to make sure both of y'all on the same page and see eye to eye on these payment terms, because it's gonna save you and them a lot of headaches. And remember, go out there and provide high quality service for your customer. I appreciate y'all for watching this. Peace.